Hey, good morning. I'm Sarah with Ethicon, and I'm here to talk to you guys about the new Echelon 3000 stapler. It's very similar to the one that you guys have here, but instead of doing manual articulation on the abdominal wall or on a grasper, we now have powered articulation. So the surgeon's no longer gonna have to articulate on a grasper. He can do it literally with the touch of a button. Which is super nice. What I really want to in-service you guys on is whoever is teching for this stapler, I want you to understand what the buttons on the interface mean, because it's going to be important when you load and unload the stapler. So you're going to see here you have two articulation buttons. Top is going to be left, bottom is going to be right. So if I want to go to the left, I'll just press the top and it'll go to the left. If I want to go to the right, I'll press the bottom. Same thing here. Top is going to be right, bottom is going to be to the left. You're going to see a home button here. There's literally a button with a little house on it. That will always bring you back to center. So when you need to de-articulate to get out of the trocar and you need it to be straight to load, that's the little button with the house right here. Text, when you guys are unloading, sometimes I see pop on the table or off with the hand. Totally fine to pop on the table, but because this joint is going to be more sensitive because it's powered articulation, do me a favor and protect the joint with your hand when you pop off, okay? So give it a strong grasp on the back table and pop your load off. Try not to hold up on here, protect that joint. That's the most expensive part of this new device, is this powered joint. The other thing is, with this new stapler now, when you're on the back table, sometimes when you load or unload, it can bump the articulation slightly off center. So Tex, if you get one thing from me this morning, please remember this. Every time before you hand it back to the surgeon, just hit that home button and make sure it's in center, because it can slightly get bumped off track. And if it's not totally straight, they're not going to be able to get it down the trocar. So every time you pass it from the back table back to the Mayo or the surgeon, always just hit this home button to be sure, every single time. Other than that, that's really it. For whatever reason, if you get into any trouble and the stapler doesn't want to fire, you put the wrong load in, the surgeon accidentally bumped something and it's not firing, your first cause of action, take out your battery, flip it, put it back in. That has solved every problem that we've seen so far in all trials. So that it's a brand new stapler. People are just starting to use it. That's the only feedback we've gotten, is if anything for whatever reason goes wrong with the stapler, take out your battery, flip it, put it back in. That's really it. Same loads. You don't use different loads for this stapler. They use the exact same, but I just wanted you guys to know, if you take away anything Tex, always hit this home button before you give it back to your surgeon, so it's straight before it goes in the trocar. That's really it for me this morning, guys.
And maximum use.
Good point. Maximum use. So all of our staplers are only supposed to be fired 12 times. If you have a surgeon, good morning, that fires it more than 12 times, you've got to open a new gun, right? Because it's the same knife blade every time, and we don't trust that the knife blade's not going to be dull after the 12th firing. So always switch out your gun if you have a surgeon that's going to fire more than 12 loads. I typically never see you guys fire more than 12 here, but just for you to know. Anything that I missed? This is Chuck. He's our stapling guru. He came this morning to help.
The one thing is, when you, like Sarah said, when you pop that battery in, it's going to vibrate. Did you already tell them that?
I did not.
So you'll know that the gun's good. You'll see it's kind of weird when you do it. The first time you do it, you'll be like, oh, that's different. It's going to vibrate. If it doesn't vibrate when you put it in, take the battery out and put it back in. This gun has a tactile feedback, so anytime it does something new, it vibrates. So, and you, like I said, you'll feel it right away. Do y'all have robot stapler here? So have you ever noticed on the robot stapler that sometimes it's difficult to take the reload out? How do y'all usually get that out?
I've held it like she said before, where it's like bends like that. You just hold it where it's bend part so it doesn't bend. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the robot one bends more than that one does. Yeah.
It does. Now, what happens though with this one, sometimes it'll bend too.
Mm-hmm.
So what you can do is take a Raytec or a lap or whatever and put it down inside here and kind of counterbalance. So like put it down in here and then take your thumb and pop it off. Same way. Something about this one being having a wider, see how much wider this one opens versus this one? Something about it, it kind of gets floppy a little bit. This one's a little bit more rigid. So if for some reason, if you're having a difficult time doing that, which you shouldn't, you can put that Raytech in there and pop it off. That'll work as well.
Any questions? Anybody in here who's scrubbing with Garay this morning? Awesome, we will be in with you guys today. Garay's gonna use for the first time, so we'll be in there for all the cases.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. It is, like Sarah said too. It's exact same as